Hello, hello! Welcome to episode 106 of the Lorethrough, and we're gonna get right to it. We find ourselves in the subterranean shunning grounds, and we are going to find out what's exactly beyond Morgoth's barrier. And don't you know? Lots of bodies. Tons of nomads. Absolutely everywhere, speckling the place. They even have their little hand caps at the end of their bows that they use for their strange stringed instruments. We'll take a moment and glance at one. There you are, that weird hand. Couldn't tell you a whole lot about it. Wonder if there's any tie-in between that and the Church of Manus Celeste that was on the Magic Plateau owned by the Carrion family, right? But it seems that they were all put up in here for some reason, the Grand Caravan. And there is a good amount of cut content relating to the Grand Caravan. If you would like to learn more, I believe YouTuber Sekiro Doobie has a fantastic piece on it that you can look into. As you saw, that this particular frenzied nomad could launch bursts of flame, and he destroyed the lean-to over here covered in cloth. And you need them to break it. You can't break it, but they can break it, so you gotta trick them into it. So when you're going throughout this little area, make sure you have them break it. And here we find the nomadic set. Let's take a moment and read what's on it. Alright, so the headpiece reads, Chapeau of the Nomadic Merchants. These merchants once thrived as the Great Caravan, but after being accused of heretical beliefs, their entire clan was round up and buried alive far underground. Then they chanted a curse of despair and summoned the flame of frenzy. And there's even, it's decorated with little gems around the outside there, as you could see. And it looks just like all the other nomad outfits that we've seen of nomadic merchants across the lands between, though it has its own unique color scheme. It's pink and purple. Don't know if that means it's drained of color or if it hasn't been dyed yet, or that was a specific color to that one merchant. The rest of the nomadic fellows here are devoid of anything but their bedclothes by the looks of it. So I don't know if in their madness they cast away their clothes if it got too hot and stuffy down here. I mean, with that seal in the way, maybe it did get hot and maybe it did get stuffy. But here we have another fellow that we need to trick into breaking it. But I did very poorly at tricking him into hitting it. Well, he hit it just fine. The problem is right here where he hits me, right? And I try to parry it, and being a dumb idiot, they do a lot of damage. If it wasn't clear, I'm recording this audio in post, unfortunately. I recorded about 20 minutes of this episode before I realized that my microphone was not connected to the system. It was connected to my computer, don't you worry about that. But, every so often, OBS has a quiet update, and it just forgets what my microphone is and doesn't use it. Which I didn't notice in my last batch of recording, because in my last batch of recording, I just recorded the game separately, and then I did the audio later in my video editing program. Because that's what I do for my PvP videos. I do the voiceover in post. Why? Because I need to focus. I have a small brain and need all the help I can get, so I can't really chat effectively and provide good commentary simultaneously with the game going on. Not yet, maybe at some point. I'm hoping that this will provide ample practice, but to be fair, there is an awful lot to talk about here. Like the jump puzzle. What is with FromSoft and sticking jump puzzles in their games, right? To my knowledge, only Sekiro and Elden Ring have a designated jump button. The other games require some convoluted version of sprinting and hitting dodge roll to get a kind of jump, but it's always just like a forward jump, not a standard upward jump. The jump that this character has is a pretty strong jump, but we find the Frenzied Cookbook. It lets us make the Frenzied Flame Stone, which is very much like a normal warming stone, but it incurs frenzy while also doing healing. However, if you have accepted the Frenzied Flame, it doesn't hurt you. And so we can see it is made by an incantation of the three fingers. It uses FP to generate warmth, continuously restoring the HP of those nearby and those who host the Frenzied Flame. Confers madness upon those who have not adopted the flame. Take care not to mistake it for its gentler cousin. And that's the thing people do. They'll take the Frenzied Flame upon themselves. Kind of a spoiler. Not really. It's going to happen in the next couple minutes here. But They'll do that, and then in PvP they'll drop those to heal themselves. I don't know if it only affects the host of the world, that status of taking upon yourself the Frenzied Flame, or if invaders can also have it applied. It definitely slows down the build-making process, because you have to do all this stuff that doesn't have much of a reward, to be honest. And I'm leaving in this footage of me doing the jump challenge. And I'm not even speeding it up, because I believed in myself. And even though I didn't remember the proper path, I guessed it right first try. And I didn't die doing it. I died instead to the Frenzied Flame idiot up above. Which, I guess if he's an idiot, then I'm an even bigger idiot. Yeah, there's me trying to decide. And there's some of these jumps that you should just do a regular walking jump. You don't need a sprinting jump. It's the far ones you want a sprinting jump for. Like this, I don't know if this one necessarily warrants it. I do a sprinting jump on one of these suckers. Maybe I already did it and I just missed it in my rambling. So here we find an incantation, Inescapable Frenzy. Take a look-see at that. And it is incantation originating from the maddening 3 fingers. Causes the... Oh yeah, I swap it and show off they're all of the 3 fingers. So we knew about that concept beforehand. Causes the yellow flame of frenzy to blaze from the caster's eyes. The caster then latches onto foes, spreading the madness. This incantation also causes buildup of madness in the caster, and is only effective against the tarnished. To gaze into one another's eyes is truly the most intimate form of human contact. Into another's eyes. So yeah, it's a command grab of sorts. You grab them and you give them some frenzy. It was bugged for a while where its damage would scale with the critical rating of your weapon, so people would hold onto a misericord. They'd grab you with the frenzied flame, and it would make you feel real bad. But we're gonna take a look at this fingerprint stone shield. Great stone shield with an intricately carved fingerprint design, one of the heaviest of all great shields. Part of the tomb of an ancient god, the readerless fingers relayed their message through these imprints, said to be the very seeds from which the frenzy first sprouted. So if it's a bunch of fingerprints, and the 3 fingers is associated with frenzied flame, and they were readerless, was it the 3 fingers that put all these markings on this fingerprint stone shield? Seems likely. All of the elements match. It doesn't seem too outlandish of an idea. And it's heavy. It's so heavy. It weighs like 29. I have to hit this guy to bait him into breaking down the shack, but I can talk about the fingerprint shield. It weighs 29. It is the single heaviest weapon or shield in the game. I think the next runner-up is like 26.5. I think that's the giant crusher hammer or something, right? 29 is obscene. I fought a guy the other day who was using the fingerprint shield, and maybe no. Did I fight him, or was I watching a video? Anyway, I saw a guy. I don't remember when it happened. My memory's too fickle. But he was using the fingerprint shield in one hand and the guts greatsword in the other. That's 29 plus 23, and that's just your right and left hand. It's not counting his armor, and he was wearing fairly heavy armor. I think he was wearing the Knight Cavalry outfit, which we haven't even found yet in this playthrough, which is fairly heavy, especially for his weapons he had. But let's take a look at that note, and then I'll continue on my rant about how that shield's way too heavy, and a little bit of its history. Let's see here. Alright, note written by a nomadic merchant, succinctly detailing knowledge acquired. The Empyrean Mikola crafted a needle to resist the influence of outer gods. Those who have inherited the flame of frenzy, yet wish not to become its lord, would do well to seek Mikola's needle. So, it seems that Mikola's needle can help undo the effects of the frenzy flame if we go through with it anyways. It's just kind of funny how the hint is on the way down to where, well, presumably the frenzied flame might be in some capacity, or something else pertaining to the frenzied flame. Oh, here we are. We find ourselves at the bottom of the hole, right? And you have to get to this particular opening before you hop down. If you are any higher, even 1 level higher, it'll kill ya, the fall. But we survive. And Hayeta's already here for some reason. There's a Grace, weird, and a weird red melty door. So we're going to grab the Grace and do some chatting. Hello, Hayeta. Long time no see. We haven't seen her since the Bellum Church, which feels like a lifetime ago. How did she get down here? We broke through the ceiling. There's no way she came through that. Oh, We have a servant's entrance. She must have come through here, which is a completely preposterous idea also, because when we look down below, it's a horrible series of roots and cliffs leading down to the deep root depths. Yep, that's right. It's another way down there. There's another way to the deep root depths in case you missed the Seofra Well Aqueduct and the twin Valiant Golems fight. So, we are going to speak with Hayata, because I think we just kind of walked past her, and see what she has to say.
So you're here as well, are you? I realized as we've talked, I'll be a maiden, and you, surely a lord. Go to the door ahead. After divesting yourself of your possessions, it will surely open, and the three fingers will welcome you. May the flame of chaos find purchase within you.
So, divest ourselves of our possessions, and the chaos flame might find purchase within us.
After divesting yourself of it will surely open.
The chaos flame that will be bestowed to us by the three fingers. Well, let's sit down with Grace and see what happens. Oh, we have a prompt. We can talk to Melina. Let's see what she has to say.
If you intend to claim the frenzied flame, I ask that you cease. It is not to be meddled with. It is chaos, devouring life and thought unending. However ruined this world has become, however mired in torment and despair, life endures. Births continue. There is beauty in that. Is there not? If you would become Lord, do not deny this notion. Please, leave the frenzied flame alone.
Okay, so kind of interesting. She tells us about how it's beautiful that life persists. Don't melt it all away as the flame of frenzy would have us do. It seems that chaos, antithesis to order, would melt everything down as opposed to structure everything in hierarchies. So if you don't like hierarchies, you want to destroy literally everything.
One more time, please, seek not the frenzied flame. As one who strives to become a lord, deny not the lives, the new births of this world. Those who would are not fit to be called lord, when the land they preside over is lifeless.
So,
please,
again, she wants us to not do anything with the frenzied flame. She's trying very fervently to push us away from that, and she seems a little emotional, just a smidge. Just a little bit. And you know what? We're going to acquiesce to her request. However, we have an alternate timeline. Hello, alternate timeline. And now we're gonna go get wasted. I mean, talk to the frenzied flame, or the three fingers, or whatever's inside here. The chaos flame, anarchy itself. So you just need your hands empty, and you need no armor on to get in here. As you saw, I had the dragon incantation seals in both hands still, just not active. And so, well, nearly naked, basically, we push open this door, and as you can see, it looks like little grooves made by, well, fingers. From the outside, I don't know how that makes sense. Was it sealed in here, or is this a door to keep it safe? Maybe it can't do much. We've never seen a two fingers move. They've got to be able to move in some capacity. They're at the top of the Divine Towers, for goodness sake. And there it is, we see it. It's got more grooves in the ground caused by its fingers. It's charred. It's got a thumb. So it's the thumb, pointer finger, and middle finger of a hand. Well, the two fingers we know is the pinky and ring finger. It really is two halves of a hand. But there must have been lots of hands, because we've seen lots of two fingers across the lands between. Yet we approach anyways. And, oh, why would you approach it? It's so creepy and alien. Even though it's a hand, it's emaciated. It's kind of gross. And it embraces us. And once it does this part, it charges up. The light gets brighter. And your controller starts to rumble, as you see those yellowed, frenzied flames. It seems to let something reside within us before dissipating. It seems it gave us the last of what it had. Which makes me wonder how many other people had gotten to this point, if any. Maybe Vike got to this point. Remember Festering Fingerprint Vike, an invader with melted armor with fingerprints in it? Maybe he got here. Maybe it didn't take purchase in him because he had armor on. Need to be naked. Anyways, changed our eyes. Puts little swirling patterns of burns all over our body from where we are embraced. Changes what you look like. You can turn off these cosmetics that the round table hold cosmetic mirror if you so choose. But yeah, need to be totally naked. And we'll throw on a pair of pants for talking to Hayata.
The flame of chaos has nestled within you. Could you please rest your hand upon me? Burn me with the flame to make me your maiden.
Alright, little weird, but I'm here to please.
Oh, it burns.
Interesting that we use the tips of our fingers when transmitting data through her forehead and melting her eyes. Let's chat with her.
Thank you. I have touched them. The words of the three fingers. As your maiden, allow me to divine them.
Alright.
All that there is came from the one great. Then came fractures, and births, and souls. But the greater will made a mistake. Torment, despair, affliction, every sin, every curse, every one born of the mistake. And so, what was borrowed must be returned, melted all away with the yellow chaos flame, until all is one again.
So,
those who
very
gave me
curious.
purpose howled without words, saying they wished they were never born. Become their lord. Take their torment, despair, their affliction, every sin, every curse, and melt it all away. As the Lord of Chaos, no more fractures.
So, very interesting. She seems to be overly concerned. And look, she's self-immolating. Oh, that feels bad. But, so apparently, before even the Greater Will sent the Golden Stars to the lands between the Elden Ring that would eventually birth the Elden Tree or what have you. Oh, Frenzied Flame. Formless sacred seal bestowed by the Maiden of the Three Fingers enhances incantations of the Frenzied Flame. This seal was the mark of their Lord of Frenzied Flame, of the Lord of Frenzied Flame. Scales with all the stats, though it still is primarily faith. We even have 200 incant scaling because this character is way over leveled, even more than the main timeline. And we'll see what Melina has to say really fast now that we've broken her trust in this alternate timeline.
You have inherited the frenzied flame. A pity. You are no longer fit. Our accord ends here. And remember, should you rise as the Lord of Chaos, I will kill you. As sure as night follows day, such is my duty. For allowing you the strength of runes. Goodbye, my companion. Goodbye, Torrent.
She's probably most broken up about Torrent. I would be. Anyway, Hayata back there, totally immolated, just a pile. So it seems interesting. The Greater Will seems to have been part of the one great that fractured, creating all sorts of diversity and contrast and differences in the lands between, and possibly beyond that. And the Frenzied Flame seeks to melt it all down again. And just taking a look around here, things are melted, fingerprints all over the place. What a horrible set of ideals to have that. You'd better melt it all down. Anyways, we gotta go to the proper continuity. See ya. Hey, welcome back to the proper continuity, Sieghelm. And I just found out that my mic wasn't connected, essentially, for the last little bit, so I'll have to dub over that. You probably already know that in post, but I'm finding out about it just now in the proper continuity, and I don't know why. Every time OBS has a silent update, it forgets what my microphone is, and I have to tell it what my microphone is. So I'm going to trust in the dubbing over to talk about all the events here, and we're going to move forward. We don't have a whole lot left in this episode, but I did want to show off this area, and we'll just do a little bit of adventuring, and heck, we might even end the episode a little early. Can you imagine that? An episode that's not more than 30 minutes? I sure can't. So this is a way to descend into the deep root depths, which is funny because it's a zone we've already completed. But if you keep your eyes open, there is stuff for you to grab. And because this isn't a proper underground area, or it's a rather large zone, you can still use your horse, I believe. Yeah, we can access Torrent here. Smithing Stone level 6, worth the grab. Definitely. And it's good. We can get in a little bit of combat because I wanted to try out the magma sorceries. We over-leveled, so I have sorceries I need to be showing off in the next couple episodes. Sorceries that have more than just an intelligence requirement. And then I think we will get to the incantations. And the incantations might be, along with some faith weapons, their own episode where I just go over a whole lot of them. The more interesting ones. Being able to fling a fiery glob is kind of funny to me. And this one explodes after a delay, and if you charge it, the delay's longer, but it also hits harder. There we go. Not too shabby. I still want to do a Faith Int build. I've talked about it, and I just haven't done it. And the stat investment scares me. I feel like I need to be, like, basically wearing cloth, and I shudder at the thought of having so little poise on any of my builds. I've always liked having defenses, because I make mistakes, and if I have defenses, and I make mistakes, I can live through them. So I think to get to this one, Torrent's the easy option. Because it's just a straight hop there, as I almost dump myself off the side of the route. And I don't remember a whole lot being here. Like, no unique items. I think it's just, like, some money and maybe a couple smithing stones. But I digress. Alright, I think next on the docket is Gelmir's Fury. In fact, I kind of want to try using it here. Oh, this isn't going to do much, is it? Oh. Well, well, well. I got two of them. And I want to know, can this go downward? Probably not. Oh, it went down enough. Night and Flame stance, specifically the flame part of it, Ashvor on this weapon, always seems to shoot a little high, kind of like Flame of the Red Maidens. I feel like you need to angle it down most of the time. If you can free cam it, all the better. I don't think there's anything over here. There is an angry slew of ants down here, though. I had a horribly gnarly invasion on this particular branch once. Let's see if that'll catch him. Burning the ants with fire. Do a quick one. There we go. Yeah, and there's nothing much there. Anyway, I had a really terrible invasion here, and I swear I was going to lose every second of it. But I utilized the branches and jumped to the main log here to buy myself time before I was eventually able to overpower him. I'm trying to remember which character that was. It might have been the Desiccated Saint video. The first one, if I do more than one. Those who are watching from the future. Yeah, magma sorceries. They're kind of neat. Real slow. Feels like they'd be awful in PvP unless you caught somebody unawares. And then, what do you do with the rest of the build? Okay. Well, that wasn't a whole lot of time. You still have like 5 minutes left in the episode. An episode I'm going to have to dub over most of. But yeah, we're here. Normally you come in from over here. Here's where the waterfall is, and there's the grace right beside it. You cross the roots, we get the Elden Stars. You know what? We have 5 minutes. Let's look at a couple sorceries and incantations. That sounds like a good use of our little bit of time. Because next time we're going to break out of Lane Dell and work our way east towards those forbidden lands and ultimately the Lift of Rold. So memorizing spells. What have we not seen really? Because I didn't have the stats for. Stars of Ruin. Comet, I suppose. Though honestly, the difference between Comet and like Pebble were great. But yeah. We'll see. We'll see. So, Stars of Ruin is just Starburst, but 12 of them. They made the tracking bad, so it's not so good in PvP anymore. You're better off with the 6-shot. Comet is just Big Pebble, or Soul Spear, or whatever. Glintstone Comet Shards, kind of the more economical version, honestly. Great Glintstone Shard's a nice medium one. And I like Swift Glintstone Shard. I like being able to sprint and jump while shooting a little bolt. It's fast, comes out quick. I'd rather get lots of little chips on somebody than pray and hope a big, meaty cast happens to hit them. Pebble? We've got to have seen... Maybe we haven't shown off Pebble. I feel like I haven't used it since the beginning of the game. Very easy to chain cast. Kind of like Shard. It probably hits a little harder than the Swift Glintstone Shard. Let's look for some more unique ones. Loretta's Great Bow. We've seen the moons. I have shown that off. Great Swords. Shard and Comet are just the nighttime versions of the other Shards and Comets. The difference being that enemies don't input dodge them. So, Eternal Darkness. I don't believe we've shown off this bad boy. So you can set this above your head and it'll absorb incoming spells. They'll curve into it. Fairly helpful. I've used it against spell spammers. I don't know, it's kind of a costly for a slot, but kind of neat. Can you charge it? Nah, it's the same. Same old, same old. Okay. Let's see what other spells we have. We've shown off these ones. Ice Crag. I have a Duelist Moonblade on my bar already. Shattering Crystal, Crystal Torrent, Crystal Release. Why not? So, Glintstone Ice Crag, we've seen Albrecht, the Mad Tongue, use this. It's basically a slow pebble or shard, but it does ice. Shattering Crystal. It's kind of supposed to be this... It's probably the better version of the shotgun spell that's kind of bad. I should give the shotgun spell another try now that I actually have the stats for it. Then there's Crystal Torrent where you can charge, and as long as you have mana, you'll keep shooting. And it turns a little bit, if I recall. You have a little angle in front of you that it'll still cast. Crystal Release. So, kind of an interesting pick. I feel like if you're, like, under the belly of a dragon, that's the one time this is useful. Assuming it hits him. It may not, actually, if he moves too much, so... What else do we have for our little bit of time that we have here? Crystal Barrage is one that's better at higher levels. It's really bad at lower levels, and it's only good because you just keep hitting. And you can kind of turn, as you can see. Let me show that off a little better. So you can turn a little bit, and it just keeps shooting so long as you have mana. Well, actually, it's not infinite, but it does cast a lot longer if you have mana. I've used that to finish off people in PvP. Just because it has a little turn angle and it shoots so many times. It's like the alternative to like a crystal dart finishing. Like they're about dead anyways. And you just need something to hit them. Honestly, Star Shower's probably a little better at that. Even just the light cast like that. Because one of them's probably going to hit. And if they don't, you can just try again when they have so little HP. But it's an option. Kind of a stylistic choice. Not a practical one. What else have we not shown off? Meteorite, Bubbles, Thorn Sorcery. So, Meteorite. As long as you have mana, it keeps casting, but it hits so erratically, your target needs to be huge. Honestly. Or you're using the physic that gives you infinite mana for 10 seconds. Oracle Bubbles. This one's not so good. Kind of bad. The Great Oracular Bubble. is okay. I'll say that much. It hits surprisingly hard. I should probably be casting these at an enemy, but oh well. And then Briars of Sin. You can cast it 3 times, and it has a surprising amount of hyper armor. I think if you have it after something like Swift Glintstone Shard or Carrion Slicer, specifically the Briars, you can cast it faster. It'll prevent some of the startup, which is what really kills you, and it can surprise people. So that is an option. Leaves a lot of blood on the ground, though. Not that healthy a choice. Okay. And we'll show off the last few sorceries. We won't worry about incantations right now. Rancor Call, Bigger Rancor Call, Fia's Mist, and Tibia Summons. There we go. So Rancor Call, great way to harass people, shoot a bunch of little ghosts that follow people. Faith in Int type spell. Bunch of little skulls if I can shoot them in a direction and then get in front of them to show off the skulls. There we go. Ancient Death Rancor is that, but bigger. More skulls, and I think they're a little larger. Fia's Mist. It's, it doesn't hurt you, but it'll inflict Deathblight on Tarnished. The build-up is okay, but it's so avoidable, it's kind of not worth it. Deathblight builds aren't a thing, unless they were a part of a glitch or an exploit. And then Tibia Summons, which is the same Ash of War as the Rosis Axe, but it's a spell. I don't know where you would use this unless, like, you have a sucker who's using a jar cannon and just really standing in place. But people have ridiculous summon combos with the Tibia Summons and the Rosis Axe because the hits are such that they're kind of spaced apart a little bit. You can get a lot of hits in, but they really have to just not move. So it's they're not reliable or good combos. It's a flex. Anyways, that's going to be it for episode 106. Thank you for joining me. I will be a little smarter in the future and hopefully record my game audio as I go, or my voice audio. Next time, Breaking Out of Lanedale, episode 107. Thank you for joining me, and bye-bye.